It's been a very challenging time for me personally in the last few months when I learned around mid-September that I was diagnosed with cancer. And at that time I wasn't quite sure what type of cancer it was, and later found out it was a specific form of cancer called non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But the reason I'm kind of going live with this now is this coming Friday will be my last chemo session. Yay. And I mean, you know, we've managed to get on top of the disease and there's no sign of the cancer at my last imaging, which was several weeks ago, so it's all been extremely positive. But we are making an announcement tomorrow at the hospital. There's a bell of hope that will be rung, and I'm going to ring that bell. My wife Eunice will be there with me, and then, you know, after that it'll just be regular follow-ups. It was during sort of the latter part of the summer I began to feel something going on in my throat, and I actually, my wife and myself and our youngest daughter went out to Edmonton to run the marathon there back in the third week of August, and then Eunice and I were taking a little vacation after that through the Rockies. And it really, you know, at that time I kind of said to Eunice, when I get back I think I just go and get this thing checked out with my GP. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is a cancer of the blood and the immune system, primarily of the immune system, so it manifests itself in your lymph nodes. Throughout all the testing, every time it was better news and better news, and it ended up being a stage 1 diagnosis, which is like early stage, and there are normally 4 stages, and stage 4 is where it's kind of spread. But non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is one of the few cancers that's curable. And the regime is the same, and it consists of 6 treatments of chemotherapy and also at the same time a biological targeted therapy, which is a monoclonal antibody called Rituxan. You sit there for a few hours and they load you up with all these great sort of poisons, and it kills all kinds of cells. You can see it killed my hair, because I really did have a full head of hair before this, honestly. So you know, that's been the treatment regime, and it's every 3 weeks, and so it'll be 18 weeks. For me, I got to say that it's been generally not as bad physically as I thought it would be, and almost oddly, since kind of the sort of the 3rd treatment, I actually felt I've had more energy, and I think that's because the cancer's disappeared, and you know, the body is not now dealing with that issue. So, but the first week isn't great. But I've not missed a day of work. So I have the treatment on a Friday. Gives me sort of Saturday and Sunday to kind of cope a little bit with it, and I'm back at work on Monday. For me, it's just a little bit of nausea, but it's been minor. I did take the razor, and when I found out, because I knew that there was a possibility that it would all go, some of the fluff has remained, some may grow back a little bit. So, you know, in general, I mean, I think I've been very fortunate. I really do. The emotional impact of having cancer is huge for you and your family, no doubt about it. And the most difficult time is, I think, at the time of diagnosis. I actually wasn't expecting to hear the words, "and you most likely have cancer." I went to see my GP actually right after 2 days of board and committee meetings, and right before the quarterly results and all the meetings with analysts, and it was not a great time. Not a great time. And it was such a shock. And in fact, my wife wasn't even with me at the appointment. I mean, I just wasn't expecting to hear that. And so, you know, to go home and tell your wife that the doctor just told me that most likely I've got cancer, I mean, that shakes you to the very foundation of your roots. I mean, you just can't imagine what it's like dealing with that. But then it gets better. I mean, you start to rationalize it. And then, you know, you hit the keyboard and you Google everything. Actually, Google's not your best friend sometimes in these circumstances. And my wife got quite angry with me, you know, to stop it, you know, just stop it. And you kind of look for your support, you know, your own kind of determination and motivation. You kind of try and, you know, understand your situation, and then the people around you. And so I kind of think the mantra that Eunice and I kind of decided on was one day at a time. One of my biggest emotional issues was I didn't want people to look at me through a different lens and think of me differently. And I don't want people to think of me differently, any differently today. And the nursing staff are fabulous, the technical staff and the volunteers. I mean, it's the whole, you know, whole thing. The centre's nice, and you feel like you're being treated with dignity and respect. There's lots of laughter. I mean, everybody there is sick. What's amazing is, you know, I was there at my last treatment. There were 100 people that day that were having chemo. So I'm on a trial to replace the CT scans with MRIs. So I had a CT scan on my neck as part of the original kind of what was going on diagnosis. And then when I learned I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, they did a CT scan of my chest because that was part of the staging of the cancer, because that's the next place it kind of goes to. But after that, it's all been MRI, and which is great because I've not had that radiation exposure. And so it's right now it's a sort of proof of concept trial. I think there are 13 or 14 patients, and one of the aspects of the MRI trial is that it's functional image, so they can actually measure with MRI more about the tumor activity than you get with a CT scan. So. For Eunice and I think one thing that I would say is that, you know, we have a very strong relationship, but it makes it even stronger for us anyway. For us, it's like reinforced all the things that are important to you in life, whether it's, you know, your job, your responsibilities, family, the people around you, you know, enjoying the winter. I'm still skiing. Looking forward to the summer, and so I think it just sharpens everything up a little bit. Yeah. In terms of my job, or our job, what we do here, we know we do an important job in diagnosis and treatment and even prevention of disease, and I'm just happy to be in that industry. Yeah. We've been part of Ride the Rideau now for 2 years, and a title sponsor, and I have ridden it twice, and it's kind of funny that, you know, literally like 48 hours after the last ride that I found out that I had cancer. So it is important. It's a great fundraising event. So we kind of thought, with this situation, you know, how would that change things for us? So we basically decided that because of the fact that, you know, there will be probably some publicity a little bit around this, that we can leverage that a little bit. So we're going to change our fundraising goal this year, and we're going to aim to raise 70,000 for the ride, of which I've committed to deliver 35. So that's, you know, that's quite a big ask, but I think it's, you know, it's a stretch goal, but I think it's one worth aiming for. You know, it's kind of a mixed bag because, you know, you never look forward to having chemo, but it is the final treatment for me, and I hope, and so therefore it's a big milestone. I'm looking forward to, frankly, just feeling good, feeling well. I'm looking forward to upping my training schedule. Supporting Eunice, she's running Boston this year, so I hope I can support her in some of the long runs. I'm going to do the New York Grand Fondo again in May, so I've actually got to start really working hard on some of that stuff. So I'm thinking the end of February physically, and I'll be kind of back to where I was. You know, I'm looking forward to continuing to do what we do here at Nordion, and I think we've got a very exciting future in front of us. Lots of things I think will transpire this year for the business. And I'm looking forward to being a part of that. My team has been unbelievably supportive. They've been fabulous. And again, I'm just looking forward to working with the team and working with everybody here to really make a difference.